Hi guys, welcome to Coding Filler. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you a step-by-step on how to use Fluent email to send an email notification on your application. Either you are building an application that requires user to activate their email address, then you can use Fluent email to send such notification or any other notification required in your application, right? And the reason why you should use Fluent email is because of its lightweight, compatibility, flexibility, and it is easy to implement. As you can see, I will be using our existing API, and if you want me to do a step-by-step video tutorial on how to implement API version, you can see I can switch from version 1 to version 2. Please let me know in the comment section. So in this tutorial, it's basically on Fluent email, right? So without wasting much of our time, let's deep dive into coding. So the first thing is to stop the application from running, right? Go to your Solution Explorer, right click on the project, select Manage NuGet Package. So we need just two NuGet package for this implementation, right? So search for Fluent email, right? Alright, so fluentemail.co and then fluentemail.smtp, because we'll be using SMTP in this tutorial. You can also install fluentemail.sendgrid if your email provider is SendGrid, right? But in my own case, or in this tutorial, I'll be using SMTP. So I'm going to install fluentemail.co and fluentemail.smtp, right? Click on install to do that. Alright, I have installed the two required NuGet package. So the next thing is to go to our service collection. Then let's configure the SMTP server. So to configure your SMTP server, you need your SMTP credentials and details, right? So let's get started. Ports, let's grab the port because we'll be loading these configuration settings from our app settings.json. This is where we are going to configure the configuration setting, right? I mean the credentials, email credentials. So let's go back to our service collection. All right, but port goes to configuration. Right, dot get section. Beg your pardon. Get section. All right. So what is the name of the section we want to get? So the name of the section is email. I give it email credentials. All right. Then dot get value. Going to get the value of that section, and then so the data type. So for the port, it's going to be an integer, and then you pass the name of the value you want to get, which is port. All right, having done that, so I will just copy this to speed up our development. The next thing is to declare from who is sending the message or who is sending the mail. With the same section, get email credentials. So this will be going to be a string value, string data type, right? And then the name is going to be from. All right, you see this in my configuration, right? Then copy this again. So this is going to be our password, right? Then with the same section, then this is going to be password. So the last one here is going to be our host. The host, right? Then from the same section, the name is host. Name is host. So having done that, so let's configure the SMTP client, right? Configure the SMTP client. All right. It's going to be file. Let's say sender equals to new SMTP client, right? Inside this will be passing our host. We have our host equals to host that is coming from our application.json. Then use default credential. You set it to false, right? Because we are passing our own credentials, right? Then credentials is going to be equals to new network credential. Network credential. Inside this network credential, we're going to pass our from and the password, right? So it's taking network credential is taking the username and the password, which means that the email address that you are sending it from, and then the password to that email address. So then the next thing is to enable SSL. Beg your pardon, this one's to have command. Enable SSL, set it to true. All right, it should be sent on a secure network. And then the ports, right, which is also coming from our application, app settings.json. Right. So having done that, all right, so let's configure or let's register our Fluent email, right? Now register Fluent email service. All right. So register our Fluent email service by calling services dot add, beg your pardon, dot add Fluent email. Don't forget we just install our Fluent email NuGet package, and this is expecting from you are setting it to default email, like who is sending the email, then the name of the sender. Let's use coding filler. All right. Then add the sender, the SMTP sender. All right. Now pass your SMTP client into the SMTP sender. All right. So if you are using SendGrid, you are going to configure your SendGrid details and then pass it to add SendGrid sender. All right. So having done that, let's go to our app settings.json to configure this the email credentials. Right. So it's going to be email credentials, and don't forget this must match whatever you declare here. It must match whatever we are going to configure here, right? Okay, this is the section. Then inside this section where we have which is we have our host, right? And we also have our host. Let's confirm. We have our host, we have from, and we also have password, right? So we have our, let's declare our port to be, by default the port is 5587, then which is then we have from, right, we have from, and then I'm not going to let you guys see this, right? I'll set it off recording, right? And the password, all right, it's going to be, I'll supply this off screen. Then I'm going to have my host, and the host is smtp dot office 365.com. All right. All right, I've provided my email, which is the username, and then the password as well, right? So then the next thing is to, so let's confirm what we have here. We have our port, right, which is here. Then we have from, which is the sender, and then also, which is the sender, and also we also use it as the username and password to our network. And then we have the host, right? And the host is smtp.office365.com, right? Having done that, so we are done configuring the Fluent email service, right? So the next thing is to let's go and create a service to handle our email notification. Inside this guy, inside our services, I'm going to right click, then add a new class, right? I'm going to give it a name, email service. All right. So it's going to be a C class. All right. Go to your interface folder. I'm going to right click, then select class. In this case, it's going to be an interface. There's going to be our email service. All right. So let your email service inherit your email service, which is the interface. All right. Right. Having done that, so let's create in a constructor, Control CT, OR. We have a constructor. All right. Having done that, so let's register the service, the email service against the email service. All right. Register its scope, register your email service, and then the email service. All right. So let's go back to our email service class. All right. So this case, all right. So I'm going to see this class, and the reason why I'm selling this guy is because I don't want any other class to inherit it, right? All right. So let's create a method to send this email. All right. So public async task, yes, pass our service response. We have a class service response, right? Then inside this service response, let's pass a dynamic data type, right? I mean return type, right? So let's bring this service response. Okay, bring it in. All right, so then send email. That's the name of the method. Send email. Right. So having done that, so we can introduce our try catch, right, to help us catch any exception, right? So let's quickly have our return type as service response. Response equals to new service response. All right. All right. So return the service response. All right. All right. Error is gone. So the next thing is to let's create a DTO for this method. All right. All right. Go to our Solution Explorer. Right click on the details folder, then select a class, and give it a name send email DTO. Right, because I would like to change it to a record, public record. All right. So what do I need? I need to who I'm sending it to, that's the receiver, right? I'm going to declare it a string. So I also need the subject of my mail, then going to be subject, and then I need another one which is the body, string body, and this is going to be optional, right? As CC, right? You might have you might want to send it to more than one person, or you want to copy somebody your email. All right, so having done that, so let's go and use this record as email service. All right, it and then it's going to be our payload. All right, so the next thing is to inject the iService interface into our application, right? iFluent email interface. Let's bring it in. It's going to be private, read only, iFluent, beg your pardon, iFluent email, right? And Fluent email. So having done that, just inject it into your constructor. The iFluent email. Equals to Fluent email. Right, so having done that, so the next thing here is to, let's see, right, so send email response, beg your pardon, response equals to await client email dot to, that's the receiver of the mail, right? Then you pass it to, it's going to be payload dot to. All right, so let's break this down I write my code Tor. Beg your pardon. It's going to be then dot subject. Then you pass the subject into it. Payload dot subject. All right. So then the body dot body payload dot body. Then having done that, just call dot send async. All right. That's all. Now, having done that, so let's undo exception, right? Let's undo exception. So let's check if send email dot successful. All right. Right. Now convert it to not. That's right. Love to use it this way. If it's not successful, then let's call our service response dot message inside this service response class. Right. Let me go there so I see what we have there. We have the data, we have the status code, we have the either it's successful, which is a boolean, by default is false, right? Then we have the message. We want to communicate a particular message to the user if the service is successful or not. So that's what we are doing here. Equals to what should I use now? Let's say let's just write something meaningful. Sorry, we are unable to send an email at the moment, right? All right, so let's see. Then the service response dot status code equals to, all right, so it depends on what you want to return to your client or also who is calling your API. You can do http beg your pardon, http status code http status code dot either bad request or dependency or fail dependency or whatever. So it depends on the status code you want to use. But in my case, let me just use bad request. All right. Or you can just use service dependency status code. So then you return your service response. However, if it was successful, I'm just going to copy this and then change the message to email successfully sent, right? Email successfully sent. All right, and then it's return okay. And I must also return service response dot success. Beg your pardon. Dot success, then which is equals to true. All right. So if in case there is an exception, that let's undo unknown error, which is this, and then what we do is to bring this guy. Right. So the message you are returning to the user is going to be internal server error. So you don't return the extra exception. Internal server error. Having done that, return the same status code, internal server error. All right. So this is where you now handle your log. You log your exception. All right. Let's see if we can do that. Private or read only. Beg your pardon. Only iLogger. read only. This is incorrect. Hi log and then pass your name of your service, pass it to it, and log. I grab this, me copy this. All right, so chat into your constructor. All right, so having done that, so you can now log the actual message here. It's going to be logger dot log error. All right, then so what's going to be ex. So if you are using Serilog to log, it's going to deserialize whatever error message into this guy by default automatically by doing this, right? Just to at ex. All right, so let's do error occur while sending email. All right, so I think we're pretty much done, right? So the next thing is to just copy this method, take it to your interface, so I'll be able to use it there. Take it to your interface and then paste it here. All right, so the next thing is to create a controller for this service. Go to, let's create a controller for it. So right click on your controller folder, add, then select controller, name of the controller, it's going to be API empty, click on add, then of course give it a name, email controller. All right, so having done that, so let's bring in our interface. Then before that, let's bring in our constructor first, right? Then get the interface, going to be private read only email service, then email service. All right, so bring this guy to your constructor. So having done that, let's now declare the route. Right, it's going to be HTTP post. Then what is the name of the method? It's going to be send, going to use the same name, send email. Right, so public async task, and then pass I action results. Then the name is going to be send email. Right, so from where? It's going to be from body. From body, then your, let's bring in our email, send email DTO. Yeah, send email DTO, then payload. Take out this. All right, so So having done that, let's have our response. Our response equals to await email service. We have just only one method inside that email service interface. Email service dot send email, and then you pass your payload, then you return the status code, then you pass the response. All right, so our email service is ready for testing. So let's quickly, okay, this is response dot status code. We're supposed to pass the status code, comma, then the objects response dot status code. This is not correct. All right, so the error is gone. So let's quickly test it. Right. So guys, we have our application up and running. So let's call this guy now. Right. Going to put a breakpoint. Let me put a breakpoint. Let me put a breakpoint on this service. So I'll be able to test it step by step. Email, this is email service. Let's put a breakpoint here to test if it will hit it. All right, so I'm going to use Postman for this test. I'm going to send this to the recipient of my email. Then the subject is testing, and then the body is also testing. All right, so I'm going to click on send button. All right, we have it here, right? Step over, step over, step over. Then here, step over. All right, so let's check the status. All right, it's successful. Yeah, successfully sent. All right, so then let's continue. All right, email successfully sent. All right, so guys, this is how to send your email using Fluent API. All right, so let's quickly check out something. I'm going to change the password to incorrect password or invalid password. Then we'll test again. So I just change it to an invalid password just to test the part that just to test this part that if it's not successful, send this message. All right, so let's run it again. All right, the app is up. Let's go to Postman. Then going to change this to testing 2. Subject is going to be testing 2, and the body as well. Testing 2. All right, send. We have it here. Then click on step over. Step over. It's trying to send. See. Let's wait for it. All right, so we have an error. The SMTP server requires a secure connection. Client was not authenticated, you see. So this case now, so it's an exception, right? So Let's click on continue. All right, internet server error. All right, so guys, this is how to implement email service using Fluent email. Right, so if you find this useful, please follow or subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Bye. See you in my next tutorial. Bye.